All right, so I am here with Kristine, who is an ex-chef, which is very exciting. You are one of, I think, the first chefs I have worked with, and you have a really, really interesting story with a total kind of going from toxic work environment, burnout, to okay, I need to do something new, but I have no idea what, and I'm lost, and I need to figure this out. So, Kristine, over to you. Please introduce yourself. Let us know where you are from and what you've branded yourself as these days.
All right, cool. Thanks, Dalia. Well, yes, my name is Kristine, and I have been a chef for 16 years. And ultimately, I'm going to carry that with me for the rest of my life, but I cannot do that any longer as a professional. The reason being is, yeah, just like you said, toxic work environment and burnout, ultimately. And I think that's what a lot of the world is facing right now. So, in the beginning of your program, I was clueless and lost. I didn't know what I was going to do, where I was going. I just knew that I couldn't keep going on with doing what I was doing. So, but I discovered that I may not be able to work as a chef, but I can give back to that community and make a change. And what excites me so much now is that there's a demand for that. So I may not be working directly with food, but I'm going to continue working with chefs. I'm going to help them in their leadership role, guiding them and mentoring them into just stronger and better leaders that can hopefully in the future avoid the burnout that I experienced. I still have this strong passion for the industry and this love for the people in the industry, and I get emotional just talking about it. So realizing and discovering that value, that I have a value to bring back and that I can make an impact and a change, that was just an exciting breakthrough to discover.
Yeah, because originally you didn't even think you wanted to stay in F&B, right? It was like this weird relationship with your ex industry where you didn't even know if you wanted to work there anymore. But on the other hand, like you've spent so many years of your life there, it creates this weird relationship with your past, right? And with the industry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. When I first started your program, I was like certain I didn't want to go back into the industry. I had a lot of anger towards it. But I discovered my own issues there. I mean, I was probably to blame for a lot of it just because I didn't know how to put up boundaries. And I think going going through the mindset work that we went through and that I put myself through and held myself accountable to do, I realized, it doesn't really matter where I go. There's boundaries that I need to put up, and that's what's going to help me fulfill a healthy lifestyle. And then to come back and take a hard look at, well, this is what I know. This is what I've been really good at. So how can I come back and be better than I was before? And then also provide some relief for the people that are in the industry now.
I think it also shows that sometimes your suffering, let's call it, or things that have been really difficult for you in your past can actually turn into your purpose, can turn into the thing that you want to change. Not for everyone, right? But in some circumstances, yes, the thing that made you suffer in your work is actually the thing that motivates you to create a kind of a change in that industry.
Yes,
Go through the
exactly.
process to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I really didn't, like you said at the beginning, I didn't think that I would ever want to go back into the industry. I think at one point I got mad just thinking about it, just thinking about that still maybe being on the table or being an option. Like, no, I was finished with the industry. I was, but that just, there's some healing that has to happen first. But then, yeah, I mean, like the clouds part and the sun comes out and you realize, yeah, this is now my driving force.
Mhm,
I want to go back and I want to change the world. I want to make an impact. I want to bring
mhm.
value and help others not go through what I went through and how to cope with it and make their situations just better.
Yeah. And so at the stage when you were like, you knew that you wanted out or you'd already quit, right? So you knew you were out, and then you started thinking about what to do next. Why was it important to find your purpose and not just, go and apply to jobs?
Oh, I have to have a sense of fulfillment. I believe, and I didn't quite understand this in the beginning, but I started to see it, and now I full-heartedly believe in it. I have to live to my highest purpose. I've got potential and a passion that burns in me, and it does change over time. And you continue to collect things, and that just feeds your fuel and your fire more and more and more. And really, like, if I were to just jump into another role, any old role, then I would have maintained those unhealthy habits of not having boundaries. I wouldn't have done the mindset work. I wouldn't have, really taken a hard look at myself and seen what else life is about. And so it's extremely important to do something that's going to deliver you into your highest purpose and your highest passion. So yeah, I hope that answers it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And the amazing thing is when you speak, you can feel the energy, like you can feel that sense of purpose. And that is such a game changer. That's what people don't realize is that employers can see that and people start to want to hire you because they see how dedicated you are, that you're there with a mission. You're not just someone applying to a job. And on the other hand, they can also see it if you're just applying because, oh yeah, I've been off work for 4 months now. I'd better start getting a paycheck in again. I'd better apply to this thing. And you're not the same person in that job, and they can see it. And that means that, either you don't get the job in the first place, or if you do, your performance suffers, you get made redundant, you don't get the promotions, so you kind of have to choose, like, do you want to put the work in to find your purpose and have that kind of energy and be in demand, or do you want to just not do the work and just keep finding a job or being in a
Right.
job and being the other
Just going
kind
through
of
the motions and being
Mhm.
redundant. Right. Exactly.
And I know that like the whole process was not, it is a process, right? Like it is work to figure out your purpose. You do have to take some kind of action. It doesn't just dawn on you. So can you tell me a bit about um I guess your light bulb moments as you went through the process, and if you could go back and tell yourself something when times were difficult, like what would that be?
Well, the first thing I would go back is have faith. Have faith. And so the biggest light bulb moment was my breakthrough in just like the universe and the signs that the universe gave me, and how it is so true that it is always darkest before the dawn, and not to give up in those moments. And that's how you're getting closer. And it's so hard to do that when you don't know the future. It's so hard to do that when you're not 100% sure if you're making the right decisions, if you are taking the steps. And analyzing, like, something I do is I'll overanalyze, like, oh, I was negative for too long, so now it's not going to happen for me, and that's just not the case. Like, to be forgiving on myself, and understand that I am human and it's okay for me to have those down moments, but to always get up. That tenacity is what matters. So my big light bulb moments were like, I wanted to be a mentor. I want to be a mentor for the other young professionals and the entry level managers in the industry. And I want to help them change their mindset too. But how could I possibly do that if I hadn't gone through the dark myself? How could I possibly guide them through their hard times if I haven't been through the hardest of times myself first? So once that light bulb went off, I was like ready for it. Like, you know what? That's fine. Like, the dark moments are so necessary. The failures are only guidance. Like, this is all going to be amazing. And just staying positive through it all, and having faith that on the other side, there's something greater waiting for me. So, just stay positive and have faith.
Yeah, it sounds simple on the surface, right? When you actually go through it, a whole other thing. And
Oh,
starting to frame every failure, every obstacle as just, it's actually a stepping stone towards where you're going, because you're going to get there, as opposed to seeing it as, oh, that was a failure. Okay, none of this is meant to be, and I'm just going to go back to my boring job because I have failed, right?
Right. Yeah. One thing I had to recondition my thinking on was, as a professional, and a leader in the kitchen and a leader in certain places, I've always been taught to look at the situation from 5,000 feet up, look at the whole picture, right? Well, when you're working on yourself, you have to do that in reverse. You cannot look at the whole picture. It will overwhelm you. You have to look at today and what's going on right now, living in the moment. And so taking that 5,000 feet kind of thought process and narrowing it down and putting your blinders back on for like, let's just focus on right now, because what matters is progress, not perfection. And just kind of retraining yourself on that.
Yeah, for sure. So I know you had a number of big kind of mindset reframes, which helped you a lot. And you went through a lot in terms of finding your purpose, rebranding, starting the outreach and everything. Can you tell us a little bit about your biggest breakthroughs in terms of there's a mindset part and then there's the more strategic tactical part. So in terms of the tactical part, what were your biggest breakthroughs there? Because it's a pretty big rebrand, right? From what you were doing before, same industry, but totally different kind of role.
Yeah. So the tactical part was actually, putting in the effort and networking, which is something that, even though I said I wanted to be a public speaker, and, that's always been something that's been a goal for me, public's actually doing it is still very fearful. Like, it doesn't matter how outgoing you are, it's still like a frog you got to swallow. So leaning into the fear of talking and networking with strangers was difficult. But doing it anyway, no matter what, doing it anyway was extremely important, because if I hadn't done that and I hadn't spoken to as many people as I did, I wouldn't have been able to narrow and kind of funnel my focus to where exactly it needs to be. Like, who should I be reaching out to, and who are my primary focus? Am I reaching out, and do I need to be focusing on a mentorship program for all management and leadership, or does it need to just be, back of house chefs, or does it need to, just be managers? So if I hadn't, it may not seem like it's so important on the surface, but every step and really leaning into every step is so important, because
Not
that's
just
what,
doing the bare minimum and going, okay, I've sent a CV.
right, exactly. You do the bare minimum, you're going to get bare minimum, and then you're going to be wondering why it didn't work. You have to really lean into every part of it. And that, yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for really, really taking the time to do it every single day, I wouldn't have a better understanding of what I should be doing today.
Yeah. And you were doing a great job of like daily work and checking in with me every day. So that you were super, super consistent with that, which is amazing. And I think it also comes back to, that's why it's important to find your purpose, or the thing that you're really passionate about, because otherwise it is really, really, really hard to lean in. I mean, you can try to, but you probably won't manage. You won't manage to send out that TV, to do that outreach, because you don't care. You're making all this effort for a job that you don't want anyway. And so that's so important to have that foundation of figuring out what it is that you're actually wanting to do.
Yeah, it's imperative to know, because like you said, people can hear my energy, right? If it wasn't something I really wanted to do, I would not be that energetic. And when networking, people would not be as interested in hearing me out.
Yeah. Oh, and just to share with everyone, like Kristine went to a networking event and they actually told her that she was their star networker there. And they were so happy that she came. And you went just by yourself, didn't know anyone, kind of like, I don't know what I'm going to this thing. And you had your ready and everything.
Yeah, it was funny. There was absolutely zero people there in my industry. But somehow I still managed to weasel my way into as many conversations as I could. And I still got some contacts because everybody knows somebody in the industry. So
yeah. That's amazing. Because, people probably look at you and go, oh, well, she's probably a natural networker, but you put the effort in. I mean, you had your pitch ready, you practiced it, you did the mindset work, like you did a lot of work into becoming that star, quote unquote, star networker of the event. So I think it's more amazing when you know that. I mean, some of it's natural. Like I really see it as like, that's the real you that gets to come out. But it's not natural, like, oh, you're just good at networking. And if someone's not, then no. I mean, you had to do the work to get that networking Kristine to come out.
Oh, yeah. I had to have the uncomfortable conversations. There were several times I was on the phone and I just sounded like a dud, or like a firework that did not go off, and it was embarrassing, but those moments were necessary. It's just like, again, failures are just guidance. And so it was necessary to have those moments and not to be afraid of them.
Yeah.
Embrace them.
So, okay, so bring us up to speed on where you are today, because I think you said you got three different job offers in your new direction, but you're not
Mhm.
desperate to accept any of them right away. You're kind of making sure to play your cards right to find the thing that you're really, really excited about. What do you think is the biggest change between who you are now and who you were before?
Um, the biggest change is, I mean, I have a deeper appreciation and my eyes are more open to life in general. It's not just work, 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 sleep, shower, work, 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 work.
Mhm.
You know, I have a deeper appreciation for other things in life. But right now, with these three opportunities on the table, none of them are exactly what I want. They all have the potential to either eventually be or get me where I could be. But I feel like there's probably something better out there for me and I'm not desperate. And that's, I think, I'm fortunate to be in a position where I don't have to be desperate. I have my support system around me. But
Mhm.
um, it's all like what we talked about earlier. It's all about negotiation. One opportunity could absolutely nail it down, but maybe the money's not there. And then in another opportunity, I've got the money, but then there's other aspects that I'm not super happy about. So I'm kind of working on just having faith and manifesting a new position into
Mhm.
exactly what I want. So I don't know if that means waiting a little bit longer or making one of these positions conform to what I want,
Yep.
but it'll happen one way or the other. I'll be happy.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. So you're really in that phase of you've got these offers, you negotiate to make them the perfect offer, or if not, then you have the system working for you. You know exactly what to do to get more offers. Like if you can get those three offers, obviously you can get, and it's only been within the last few weeks, right? So if
Yeah.
you can just keep working the system and also over the holidays and whatnot, if you keep working the system, you'll just keep getting more offers and you can negotiate those as well. And that's how you get your perfect
Yeah.
offer.
Consistency, consistency, consistency. That is key. Keep going. Don't slow down.
Amazing. And at least all these three are in the direction you want. It's not like they're trying to pull you back into what you were doing before. It's towards the new direction. So I think that's also really, really key and really important. Because of course you can always go and get a job in what you were doing before, but that's not
Oh yeah.
that's
And
not
and that happens too. I
Mhm.
mean, I do have a lot of people reaching out. Oh, I got an executive
Yeah, yeah.
chef position open. And it's tough to hear those because yeah, before it'd be like, oh yeah, look at all these opportunities.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not, it's not what I want. So
There comes a time when you reach a certain amount of success in one area, but you have to realize that now success for you means something different. And it's not just about, yeah, being in your old lane. It's about creating that new lane.
exactly.
Mhm. Okay, so last question. What would you say to someone who is sort of in a similar situation to where you were before, where they're in a job that is somehow very toxic and they just make the decision to quit, as actually a lot of people are doing these days when we hear about the great resignation, etc. But then, what comes next? And maybe they're thinking about doing a program like this, but they're like, do I really need it? Is it just going to be the same old, career coaching stuff? Like what would you say to someone like that?
I would say it's pretty important that you have some guiding light there to do it on your own. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. Of course, you can do it on your own, but you have to be mentally prepared and ready. And generally, coming out of a toxic work environment where you experience burnout, you are not mentally prepared to do it alone. You need some guiding force there. And I think I would say this one thing that attracted me so much to your program was that it was that middle ground where I didn't have to go back to school and pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for a new education to pursue something new. And I also don't have to settle for some crappy job just because it's less pressure or,
Mhm.
whatever, it's a different area, a profession. Those are two things I really did not want to do. And I thought this was the perfect middle ground. It wasn't nearly as expensive as going back to school. It was going to help me progress in an area that I still wanted to be in and I got to discover. And most importantly, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And that terrified me. And so you really, really walked me through discovering that. And I think if there's anybody out there that is just so fed up with what they're doing, they don't want to go back to school, this is the perfect middle ground, to really identify who you are and where you need to be, and what needs to happen differently in your life.
Yeah, and the point about school is interesting because you actually don't have a university degree, right? And that's
I have
one of
no
those,
formal, yeah.
yeah, and that's a limiting belief that holds a lot of people back. Oh, I don't have the right degree, etc. And the thing is, even if you go back and spend all that money and get that degree, you're still going to have to go job hunting like a new grad afterwards. And so you're still back in the same position of having to figure out how to compete with everyone else. And a lot of times, unless you're becoming a doctor, you necessarily need to go and get a whole new degree.
Right. Yeah. That's years. That's years. It's
Years of your life.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have time for that.
Think about the decision carefully. Okay, well, thank you, Kristine. I think that was amazing, like really great insights. And I think it's really obvious the kind of energy that you have. And to me, at least, it's just why someone would want to hire you. I mean, your energy is incredible. The way you speak, the way they haven't heard your pitch, but the way you present who you are, what you have to offer, what you're passionate about working on is really, really clear and to the point and energetic. And I think that's what's selling you so well in the current job market and allowing people to confidently give you jobs for something that is not what you've done before, which is the whole idea, to be able to make that transition into a new direction.
Thank you.
So yeah,
Thanks.
thank you so much for doing the celebration interview. I'm so happy
Yeah.
that you got to share your story because you've been amazing to work with and really inspirational as well, because I know it was not easy and I know that you went through the steps and you stayed focused and you stayed so consistent, and then things really started to, like you say, like you had the faith and then things did go your way and will continue to do so.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much.